said, welcome to the K-Files. Well, I am finally back. I said, I don't even know where we're at. I'm lost. But JP's been doing a fine job, and I watched last week's show, and y'all had it going on.
We had a good show last week and the week before. I mean, last week we had Chief Amos come on. We had Chief Winston come on, talked about a lot of things, a lot of night out. We talked about the Blooming Fest. We just talked about a lot of things that have been going on in Nashville,
right,
in the southern end of the county, things like that. Talked about a couple cases. We had a very good show.
Very good.
We missed you, though.
Oh, well, I miss being here. Well, thank you, and I miss being here, and I love all those guys coming, and you're responsible for those folks coming, because I didn't know them that well, and I met them through the show, and it's been very positive. They, good police chief in Middlesex, Nashville. I mean, just really good folks.
And they love coming on.
They
love.
Do
and
like it.
We stood out here and talked the other day when they left. They're like, JP, you let us know anytime you need us to come on. I said, look, it works both ways. I said, if you have something that you need to come on and talk about for Middlesex or, around Nashville or anywhere else, if you need to utilize us as a tool to inform the public, we're just a phone call away.
Yeah. Well, J.D. Winston, chief of Nashville, is now dealing with a curfew.
Yeah.
They have set a curfew over there.
And see, that was news to me. He hadn't told me. I hadn't heard anything about it. I didn't know anything about that until you reached out.
Yeah, I think it was just voted on at the town council. So it probably had not been voted on when he came last week. But, they have imposed a curfew. I tried to get in touch with him, and he was probably busy. Couldn't get him on the phone, but I do want to bring him on and let him, on the morning show, K-Files, whenever, and talk about, because people are asking why, and I said, well, now, they're not going to impose a curfew if there's not something going on.
There has to be an underlying reason, yeah.
And we had somebody call in and say that there were young people walking the streets, just out in the streets. There was a issue, somebody said, that lived in Nashville behind Birchwood. So on the backside, they said, of Birchwood. So, and then there was concern from viewers, they said, well, what if my child works and they're 15 or 16 and maybe they work at McDonald's or Burger King and Nashville, and how are they going to get home?
There's exemptions for that.
I mean, I don't know how that works. It said no exceptions.
Yeah, there would be exceptions for that.
You've got to be able to get home from work.
Like we've said, though, so many times in reading these cases, 11, 12, 1 o'clock in the morning. Okay.
Yeah.
We've always kind of said it tongue-in-cheek. There's only bad things to get into after 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock. And they're just trying to curb. They must see a problem coming, and they want to address it now.
Well, they graded it like 13-year-olds. I wish I had it with me. 13-year-olds had to be in at 7 p.m. 14 like 7:30. 15 like 8 o'clock. 16 8:30. That's kind of how they did it.
I could see that 6 months out of the year when it's dark at 5:30, 6
so how
o'clock.
How you going to get a child
in the spring and summer? That's not going to work.
Yeah,
I mean, it's just not going to work.
I really want to talk to the police chief and just see the ins and outs of it. And I know he said no exceptions, but there's got to be a way that kids can. And then another caller. This has spurred a lot of conversation on the morning show this week. Another caller called in and said, well, this is going to hurt businesses because businesses employ these kids, and people are already short-staffed as it is, and if the kid can't work at night.
It's kind of like graduated driver's license. There are hour restrictions for a teenager or a young person driving, but there are exemptions if that child is coming from a place of employment to get home.
Yes.
Or an athletic event.
Right.
There's exemptions. So I would hope that Nashville Town Council didn't just do a knee-jerk and not include exemptions, because that could be problematic.
Well, that is going to be fun to have the police chief on so that we can get the real deal. We need to get it from the horse's mouth, and we will try to do that. But no worries. If they stop you and you're not doing anything,
That's right.
guess what? What's the problem?
Yeah.
I mean, I hate these people that just, if you're not guilty, then just say, tell them what you're doing and say, thank you, sir, and move on.
I've always told my kids, right or wrong, you come in contact with law enforcement, you're stopped, put your hands out the window, and it's yes, sir, no, sir, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, be compliant. If there's something we need to address later, we'll address it later.
Right.
But, during a traffic stop, interaction with law enforcement, best behavior, be very respectful, and you obey lawful commands.
Exactly. So, anyway, just very interesting things going on over there in Nashville. But Nashville's growing. They're going to have to get their hands on it and keep, I respect them for doing that.
Yeah.
They're saying, we're not going to put up with it. Remember, in Red Oak, they were abusing and staying out, on the basketball court at the park in Red Oak. A bunch of kids were out there unruly and staying out there late and wouldn't listen and this and that and tearing everything
Probably
up.
vandal. That's right. Usually it takes an incident to trigger a response like what is
Exactly.
happening in Nashville. Town councils and the police departments, they just don't create
No.
curfews out
No.
of thin air. There is something they're trying to address.
Right. Because in Red Oak, Lavelle Langley, guess what he did? He took the basketball goals down.
And
He
you
said,
know,
well, you won't play basketball no more out here.
that's right.
So what did he do? What did you do? Not him. But what did those kids do? They made it bad for other kids that liked to play basketball and did it the right way, made it bad for them. In
And you
other
see that a lot in
words,
society.
yeah. It's always been, a few of them spoil it for all the others. And that's just always, since the beginning of time, I guess, that's the way it's been. But anyway, interesting.
I didn't realize Nashville had grown as much as what it has.
Golly, and it's still growing.
He was telling me, his police department has pretty much doubled in size. They're having a retention issue with, pay. A lot of departments, you come to work in Nashville, and we're just going to say like at $45,000, but you can turn around and an officer can go 10 miles up the road and make $15,000 more a year. They're going to leave Nashville. A working environment is only going to compensate so much. The days of jumping from this department to another department over $1,500, officers aren't going to do that. But when you go to talking $10,000, $15,000, a better working environment or not, officers are going to look at leaving, going to Knightdale, going to Zebulon, places like that. It's just, just one of those things. It's a growing pain.
Yeah, it is. The sheriff will tell you that. He's down 15 officers, and I'm not laughing.
And that is unreal.
Sad.
Yeah.
So, anyway, all right. Well, where are we?
We had kind of danced around last week. I figured with Middlesex being here and Nashville being here, even though they weren't specific cases to Nashville, we talked about Randy Colgrove with Nashville Police Department, and we talked about the hit and run. I believe it's Willoughby.
Yes, Philip Willoughby.
Philip Willoughby.
Yeah.
And I learned something from the chief last week that I was not aware of.
Oh, really?
And that is, Mr. Willoughby, when he was struck, the vehicle didn't come up and just strike him. It was traveling in the opposite direction. They crossed a lane of traffic
really?
and struck him. I never knew that.
Me either. Wow.
So that means...
They were definitely after him.
Yes, they were.
That was a direct... Wow.
Yeah. But, that's something I didn't know. And, we were just talking off camera about tips. I've had 2 tips in the past 24 hours. I had someone in the southern end of the county call me and say, look, I want to stay anonymous. I don't want to get involved, but I know they're cooking meth at such and such a road, such and such address. They give me a lot of information. I was able to contact the sheriff's office, share it with the narcotics division, and it's true. Another situation is I was contacted a few days ago, and they're like, look, I understand that this guy, he's got red hair. I understand he's on the run. They give me a name. They give me a location. I reached out to the sheriff's department. They're like, that is credible information, and yes, that young man is wanted. Where's he at? And so that's two pieces of information that I was able to share within the past 7 days with the sheriff's office to get some results. People want to make their community a better place to live, work, and raise a family.
Yes.
They're just a little bit hesitant. Look, the sheriff's department said, can you give us contact information? I said, the only thing I can tell you is, I can tell you it's credible information. And we talked about some other things as to how it was credible, and they made some things happen.
Absolutely.
So tips are very important. Tips are important.
Well, there was a tip. I'll go ahead and read this before we go to break, and then we'll start in. But there was a man on the run for nearly a year was captured after a tipster alerts fighting crime. They saw him recently on Bay Street in Gaston. After being on the run and avoiding court on charges from 21 and 22, and then stealing at least 5 vehicles this year, Kwame Robinson is now in custody. Halifax County Sheriff's Office and Roanoke Rapids Police Department have been working diligently the past few months to capture Robinson. However, he seemed to take off on foot and elude authorities, leaving the stolen vehicles behind, sometimes crashing them. A tipster saw Robinson, and I want y'all to know the word tipster, that is you. That is you out there. So that's what we talk about every single week. Tips, how important. And you know what? We don't know who this tipster was. It is anonymous. People are not going to know who you are. So please continue to give tips. To all the law enforcement agencies. They're not going to say who you are. So this is so important. When I see something like this, it makes me feel so good about the public. It really does, that somebody has come forward because they want to make their community a better place.
That's right.
And look at this guy. Look at what he's done. All these things, you got him off the street. And you know what his bond was? Almost $1 million.
Wow.
His bond was, see if I can find it. Oh, sorry. His bond was 900 and, where did it go? 900 and some $1,000 anyway.
Wow.
How about that? Almost $1 million. But the list is this long of things that he's done. I won't even read them all because it's just in 21, 22, 23. Oh gosh, look at his 20. I'm gonna show JP. His 23 starts here, and it goes all the way down here. That's just 23, and he's got that many in 21.
Clearly
and 22.
habitual.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Y'all, I'm telling you.
And they live amongst us.
Common law robbery too. I just don't know. So anyway, this is how important. This is what this tipster, they should feel good about what they did. I hope you do. And I hope you're listening. Because I congratulate you that you got this man off the street before somebody else was a victim. So it's done. They got him.
Good deal.
So glad. So this is what we want. In this book, somebody knows something about every single case, JP.
And that is so true. I believe that as well.
Yeah.
And every case in here is solvable.
Yes.
With that little bit of information that the public could share.
Yes. So let's get with it. All right. So we got to go to break, and we'll be right back with you, and we'll get started on some cases. Okay, and welcome back. We're going to get started in some cases. We're on the soapbox this morning about tips, so I'll bet we get some tips
I
after
hope so.
the day. I bet
hope
we
so.
do.
I hope so.
But anyway, we're going to let JP get started.
Okay, the first case we're going to talk about is John Mack Cottle. John Mack Cottle. This case is from July 4th, 2018. At approximately 6:18 a.m., EMS and Rocky Mount police officers were dispatched to the scene of a possible cardiac arrest. They arrived to find Mr. John Mack Cottle unresponsive and walking the track of the senior center. They found a gunshot wound in his chest, and he was pronounced dead at the scene. Mr. Cottle was found by two people who walked the track for exercise. He had cash, cell phone in his wallet, all on his person, and a Walmart bag near his right hand. There were no signs of a struggle, and robbery did not appear to be a motive. So that sounds like either a random struck bullet, like a random bullet,
Wow.
or just meanness. You know,
Golly, that is terrible.
6:18 in the morning, July the 4th, 2018. So at 6:18 in July, it's
light.
been morning for a while. It's
But
been
it's
daylight.
light
Yes.
out there, yeah.
Yeah.
Huh.
Now I'm not familiar with the walking track, but I'm assuming it's in a residential area.
Walking track at the senior center. Well, you know what? The senior center is downtown on Church Street.
That used to be the old YMCA.
Yes.
Okay.
And I thought, now I may be wrong, but I thought the track was on the inside. Because I mean, the YMCA we have here,
Right.
I mean, it has a walking track on the inside. I thought the senior center had a walking track on the inside, but maybe I could be wrong. Gunshot wounds to his chest, and he was pronounced dead at the scene. Wow. He was just walking, doing his walk. So I don't know if it was inside or out. I cannot answer that.
Yeah.
But
John
Wow.
Mack Cottle, shot.
was
So
there anybody? My question would be: was he the only one on the walking track? It was
when
early
it
in
happened,
the morning.
yeah.
I mean, it was very early in the morning. So, do they let you in at that time of morning, or
Had he been shot and fled? Was there a blood
Yeah.
trail?
a lot of questions
Yeah.
to that?
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, you know what? You can call the Rocky Mount Police Department, 972-1411. 972-1411. And that's their number. And you can talk to a detective, and they will definitely keep it, it'll be anonymous. It'll be anonymous. Nobody will know. So give them a call, 972-1411. This is a Rocky Mount Police Department case, or 977-1111.
Or text a tip.
Yeah.
And get
text a
paid up to
tip.
$15,000 for that little piece of information that you can help us break this case with.
And let's put the text to tip up if you can, Pernell, since this is Rocky Mount case. But Crime Stoppers, Twain County Crime Stoppers is 977-1111. Text to tip. There's all kinds of ways. There you go, right there. Bold, 977-1111. Somebody please call in if you know anything about John Mack Cottle at the senior center being shot. And we don't know, as you said, we don't know if it was a stray bullet. It may not have been intended for him. We don't know. So, anyway, okay, we'll move on.
This next case, we've talked about it with Edgecombe County and Tender several times. Dalvin Detron Redmond. Dalvin Detron Redmond. This case is from October 25th, 2018. Dalvin was 30 years old at the time he was found in a field on Ellis Road near Canita in Edgecombe County, not too far from his residence, after a farmer stumbled upon his body. Redmond had been shot twice. Edgecombe County Sheriff's Office had asked at the time if anyone had seen Redmond days before his body was found. It is unknown how long he may have been there. Nearly a year after Dalvin Redmond was found, his brother Dakota Redmond was murdered. He was murdered in Princeville. Melvin Jones Jr. was arrested and charged with Dakota's murder. So that family has suffered two losses.
Yes, in
no
I
time.
remember this is the one that the brother, remember Tender talked about that, the brother, the two brothers were both killed just a couple of months apart.
Not quite a year.
Yeah, more than a couple of months, but not quite. Yeah, imagine that mother. You know, we have to bring closure to this family. That's what we're all about, is bringing closure to families and getting people off the street. I mean, that's exactly what we're about. So please, somebody come forward. I know you know something. It'll be anonymous, and you can get paid up to $15,000. I mean, cash in the hand within a couple of days. And it's not upon conviction, it is upon arrest. So, anyway. Okay. We don't have a whole lot on this.
No, we don't. No, we don't. This next case, Kessler Rayo Bridgers and Tori Tenelle Hill. This case is from January 5th, 2019. Both victims were shot and killed around 9 o'clock p.m. on the 4400 block of Carroll Avenue in Rocky Mount. And that's all we have.
Carroll Avenue is behind at Little Easenburg, going out Sunset to Little Easenburg, Halifax Road. You turn left. You know, there's two stores there. They used to be L&L's, but they're now something else. But anyway, you go to Halifax Road, and you turn left, and it's the street right there on the right. I remember we went over there and filmed something. There was something was stolen, and they found it over there in kind of a cul-de-sac at the end of the street over there, and that's when I learned where Carroll Avenue was. But anyway, Kessler Rayo Bridgers and Tori Tenelle Hill. Golly, two of them. I mean, double homicide. So if you know anything.
Yeah, I saw on Facebook the other night, and I don't know how often Rocky Mount does this, but they release, apparently periodically, the safest and the most unsafe neighborhoods in the city.
Really?
Yeah. I was reading this, maybe it was on Fighting Crime, but it said one of the safest neighborhoods was Little Easenburg community.
Really? Okay.
And I guess, and this just might be something that's like a precursor to debate of the casino coming and all that kind of good stuff. But I had never seen stats like that broke down by community.
Yeah.
And I didn't know if it was something they do.
I guess they look at the crime numbers and see who has the least at that time that they're doing it, and hey, they can say that's the...
Because that's just this side of the interstate.
Yeah.
Right? Where the new interchange is going in and all that good stuff. Okay.
And they have just deemed that 90 million cars come down 95 through that area. What do they say?
That's a lot of vehicles.
90 million cars.
But you know, I worked it for a long time, and really, I can see it.
I mean,
because
it's
the interstate
busy.
Runs 24/7.
Yes, it sure does. So if you know anything about these two homicides, Kessler Bridgers and Tori Hill, please speak up and you can get some cash. So, okay, we'll do one more before we go to break.
Okay, this next case is one I don't recall ever discussing. Tobias.
I think this is a new one.
Tobias Devon Cox. Tobias Devon Cox. This case is from January 21, 2019. Tobias Devon Cox was traveling down West Thomas Street in Rocky Mount. sometime around 10 o'clock p.m. Once he got around the 700 block, shots rang out and struck Cox as he crashed his vehicle. He was found not too far from the car by police. He had passed away from the shooting. There is another case here that's similar to this, but given the location, it's definitely not this one. Once I began reading it, I started wondering if it was the same, but it's not. So it sounds like he was shot while in the vehicle.
Yes.
And he crashed, and he was found not too far from the car. So he apparently crashed, was able to get out, tried to make a run for it, to find help probably, and lost consciousness.
West Thomas Street, folks, 700 block. I don't really know where the 700 block is, but 700 block. So here's another case of, I don't know if it's what would you call it? I guess somebody just shot into the car. Was
Yeah.
it a target, does it sound like to you?
Speculating, I would say so.
Yeah.
10 o'clock at night.
Right.
He could have been driving a similar car to someone that other people were looking for.
You know,
Could have
that's
been a case
scary.
it is. It really
That's
is.
scary to me.
It really is.
Because, well, with my car, there's 1,000 white cars like mine. And I would hate to know that somebody, just shot in my car thinking it was somebody else. That's bad.
It's sad that this happened, but I would want to think it was not random, and
Yeah.
I would want to think it was targeted,
Mm-hmm.
because to realize that there are people out here that would ride around a given community and just
Yes.
shoot people at complete randomness, and kill them in their vehicle while they're trapping.
Yeah,
That's
Terrible.
yeah, that's bad stuff.
pretty bad. Okay, it's time to go to break. We'll get some weather, come back, talk about some more cases right after this. Okay, and welcome back. Thank you, Fred, for that weather forecast for the hot day tomorrow. But it's cooling off
I want
Sunday
it to
and
cool
Monday.
down. I'm ready for it to cool
Well,
down
it's
a
going
little
to be
bit.
85 Monday.
I tell you, I went to the beach last week and it was some of the prettiest days. I didn't even have to put the shaboomi up. I was just able to kick back in the sand, sit in my chair,
Yep.
do big boy things, and just beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful at the beach.
Well, yes, it's going to be a really nice, I love to go to the beach in September.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
I like that. I like to go in the fall a little bit before it turns to cold. Okay, well, we'll move on to our next case.
I had turned the page. I was looking at something.
James Earl Harper, 9/6/2017.
James Earl Harper.
James Earl Harper. At the top.
Okay. All right. Well, I sure don't see it in my book.
9/6. I'm sorry, 17.
9/6/17.
back a bit.
James Earl Harper. Yeah, we had gone back a page. Okay. James Earl Harper. This case is from September 6, 2017. Around 2:15 a.m., Rocky Mount Police was called after a passerby saw a man lying on the ground on the 500 block of Arrington Street in Rocky Mount. Upon arriving, they found James Earl Harper, 65, suffering from gunshot wounds. Mr. Harper had died of his injuries. Mr. Harper was walking to a 24-hour convenience store near his home on Boone Street. His wallet was missing, and he had no money on him. There were 2 different caliber shell casings found, indicating more than one shooter.
Wow.
James Earl Harper, September 6, 2017. Sounds like multiple gunmen. 2:15 a.m. in the morning. He was found lying on the ground, 500 block of Arrington Street. Clearly, it was a robbery. Wallet missing, no money.
65 years old.
65 years old.
Probably had cashed his Social Security check or had money from his Social Security check. Probably all he had. Wow. That's just speculation,
Yeah.
but I'm just saying he was 65, and that's terrible. But again, here we go, 2:15 in the morning. I mean, nothing, we always say. So what are you doing outside on Arrington Avenue at 2 in the morning? So, anyway. Keenan Marshall Mercer.
Okay, Keenan Marshall Mercer. This case is from September 15th, 2017. Keenan Marshall Mercer, 21 years old at the time, was riding his bike near 843 South Pine Street in Rocky Mount. It was around 9:40 a.m. when he was shot and killed. Keenan Marshall Mercer, 9/15/2017, shot and killed at 9:40 a.m. in the morning, 843 South Pine Street in Rocky Mount, shot and killed.
21 years old, and I mean, had his life totally ahead of him. If you look in this book, think of all the young people that just died unnecessarily. I mean, bad, but it says, I still think he was targeted. I remember this case. We've talked about it a lot, but he was on his bike. Pine Street is right off of Sunset Avenue, and 9:40 a.m. in the morning. So, anyway, if you know anything, please call. You can call 977, call Crime Stoppers, 977-1111, or you can call our hotline number. There's Crime Stoppers. Or you can text a tip. Can we put up the text tip? There it is, right there. So you've got 3 numbers to call. The text a tip, this is a Rocky Mount case, so or Crime Stoppers, or the tip number that we gave first. So, all right.
Timothy Arrington. Timothy Arrington, this case is from April 30th, 2017. Around 9:00 p.m. on April the 30th, 2017, Rocky Mount Police were called to a shooting at 828 Paul Street in Rocky Mount. Timothy Arrington was in a vehicle with 2 others in the driveway of 428 Paul Street. When Arrington exited the vehicle, another vehicle pulled up and the occupant fired shots at Arrington. Arrington was pronounced dead on the scene. The other 2 that were in the vehicle were not hurt in the shooting. It's good that they were not shot or injured in the shooting. It's good that there are witnesses. I hope they were able to provide law enforcement with a vehicle description, direction of travel, who the suspects might be. A lot of times when something like this happens, you're scared, you don't know what to say, what not to say. I hope they were able to share some critical information with law enforcement.
Well, there's one thing about it. This was a target.
Yes,
I feel
clearly
pretty good in saying that this was definitely a target. And this was April of 2017. So if you know anything, if you know something, say something. If you see something, say something. We need a tip in this case. And you know where Paul Street is, off of Nashville Road.
And these 2 witnesses, look, I mean, if you know some information that you didn't share with law enforcement, or you've got some information that you want to come forward with, look, the reward goes to you as well. Share this information that you know. Share the information that you've got and get paid up to $15,000 for the information that you'd be willing to share with law enforcement to help bring these people to justice.
Money is just sitting there, folks. That's what it's for. That's why we raise this money, for that one intention. So it's yours for the taking. All you've got to do is give a tip. So, a tip that will lead to the arrest, not conviction, the arrest. Okay, we'll do one more.
Okay, this one is one that we've talked about a few times because I remember it. His name is always hard for me to kind of pronounce. Alcindor Wardrick.
Yeah, that's the best I could do.
Okay, this case is from March 11th, 2017, at approximately 12:50 a.m.
Here we go again.
EMS and Rocky Mount Police were dispatched to the scene of a man found unresponsive on Short Street in Rocky Mount. They arrived to find Mr. Alcindor Wardrick unresponsive and suffering from a gunshot wound. According to reports, Mr. Wardrick was found by his cousin when he returned from the store. He was last known to be alive at approximately midnight. Mr. Wardrick was wheelchair bound due to paraplegia. It is not sure if robbery was a motive. According to records, he was in possession of 60 cents, 2 quarters, 2 nickels, a metal ring, 1 personal credit card, 1 white lanyard with 4 keys, 1 empty brown leather-like satchel around his neck.
Wow. Wow, wow, wow.
Why would, okay, it makes me wonder what was in the brown leather-like satchel around his neck for it to be empty. Was there money in it? Was there something else in it of value that other people wanted? It's not every day that somebody in a wheelchair is targeted
No.
for,
yeah.
for something.
It had to be, he had to have had more money on him.
Yeah,
and
something.
And they just didn't get the change,
Yeah.
you think? I mean, come on now, a paraplegic.
What
I mean,
has he done?
that's
Yeah.
really bad when you do that.
Yeah.
I mean, that is hitting the bottom of the barrel. So I hope somebody knows something about this case and can come forward. I mean, this should tug at your heartstrings because he had a family, I'm
Yeah.
sure, and his family wants closure for somebody that would do something to their loved one that was in a wheelchair bound.
He must have been under surveillance or being watched for him to have been targeted at 1 o'clock in the morning specifically
Yeah.
when his cousin left the house to go to the store real quick and come back. You know, that means
They just so happened to get it at the right time
yeah,
between the time the cousin left and came back.
at 1 o'clock in
They
the morning.
had to
That's
have been
odd.
watching.
Yeah. They would have had to.
Yeah. And Short Street is over by the Cokie Road. It's off of Cokie Road where the Planters Oil Mill.
Yeah.
Yeah, right beside it.
Okay.
Right beside it. It's when they say Short Street, I think it's like a block, 2 blocks. I'm not sure. I think I've only been on it one time. But anyway, that's where it is. So if you know anything, say something. As a matter of fact, I think it's the street that ran right beside Josh Bullock's barbecue.
Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So, anyway, if you know something, please, it's a Rocky Mount case again. We're talking about a lot of Rocky Mount cases today. That's fine because we talked about some Nashville last week, and we do talk about Edgecombe County, and we wish Halifax would join us this week on the 4th week, but maybe that will happen. Next week should be, next week is the 5th week.
Well, I'll reach out
So,
to Halifax
we'll
again.
just
I'll
see
reach
if
out
we
to
can-
Roanoke Rapids again and
Yeah,
see
let's
if we
do
can
that.
meet the new chief at
Yeah.
Roanoke Rapids.
Yeah,
Because
that'd
there's
be
several
good.
of his cases in here.
Yes. Yeah, we do have a lot of cases from Halifax County, so I think they should, I feel like they should
It would be nice,
participate.
yeah.
So anyway, well, that's all for today. I hope some of you will call and give any information you have to the authorities. The number on the bottom of the screen is text to tip. Then we have 977-1111. That is Crime Stoppers, and then we have the 406-6736 hotline. So there's no reason not to call, and it's anonymous, and you will get up to $15,000 in cash money. So please help us out. Help the ones you're helping are the family members. So help us get closure for the families. So enjoyed it, JP. Glad to be back. So
Glad to be back. Glad to see you.
and we'll be with you next week. As far as I know, it'll be me and JP. So we'll see you on the other side.